right back, Charlie. Definitely.
People, deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like
People, deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
Thank you very much for that, Ian Wright. Am I live? Of course I'm live. First things first, people, deluded, I'm back again. Monday morning, people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you lot are. Hope you've all had a fantastic previous week. Hope this weekend has been kind to you, away from the, unusually this season, away from obviously Arsenal losing to Everton. Liverpool, you're used to this season. Chelsea, you're used to dropping points this season as well. It's all calm, really and truly. On a serious note, though, I hope Monday morning has been great, or Monday's great for you lot, with it being the start of the week. Hope you and your loved ones are healthy. Smash the like button, people. Twitch gang, keep doing what you're doing. Any opinions, talking points, questions, all of that jazz, make sure you get it in. Please do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't, turn on your notification bell, smash the like button. Don't forget, people, I say 4:30 for Football Manager. I think we're going to start just a bit better, a bit earlier, so we're definitely playing Football Manager on Twitch. Later today, Arsenal's under 18s are in the FA Youth Cup, people, and apparently Arsenal are live streaming it, so that means watch along business. It's Arsenal versus Watford. Will be live from 6:45 UK time, as I'm operating out of the United Kingdom. Obviously, adjust your clocks wherever you lot are in the world. Shout the international ones and that, man. Morning, my guy. Of course, we're live, CS. Man said, wheel it. You know what? If that's what the people then want, who am I to say no? One more time.
there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like
like I said, man, I'm a man of the people. People, I say it all the time, man. I remember when I used to, such as YouTube character development, I used to be so conscious of that. I'm conscious of bare things, but yeah, now it is what it is, people. So yeah, I hope you all blessed. Tons, one love. Smash the like button, as I said. I'd be happy with Rice and 3 Telemans and Asensio. Andrew, I hear you. The Asensio thing is a myth, man. Obviously, quality player on his day, not in his last game. He missed the penalty, but he's playing his former team in Mallorca, so maybe he's doing a bit of dark arts for his home team. Asensio on ability, of course, but when you consider the injuries, the wages, it's a bit dumb to say, because Asensio, I mean, Arteta would love him, fellow Spaniard. A lot of experience, kind of has had to deal with the pressure similar to Ceballos still at Madrid, of being them young guys joining a big club. So there's a wealth of experience, and obviously technical level, can play in a number of roles, got a shot on him as well. But when you consider the wages, I personally think the inconsistency in Asensio's game, when you look at the ability he has, and obviously the injuries, where obviously he's had some big injuries in it, so it's kind of harsh on him. But I think that's a myth. And obviously in terms of wages, man, he's going to be near the top earners. And with us obviously committing Martinelli, rumors he's on 180 buff a week now. Great for some, innit? Would love that. Might buy more of the Arsenal stuff that's come out today. Well, Adidas has brought out some Jamaican stuff. I bought the kit, but you get the point. And obviously you're trying to get Saka and Saliba to commit. You'd imagine the Ramsdales, the Martin Odegaards, Zinchenko's just joined, Eddie's just signed a new deal, but you'd imagine in the duration of these guys' current contracts that they will sign improved deals. Like, that's something we have to do. Retaining players, improving players, keeping a core group together is imperative, as much as bringing in people and obviously making harsh decisions. At some point, You know, it's a new squad, but a couple of these boys have been here for a while. Arteta might have to make harsh decisions on some people that are the first names on the team sheet. It's not quite the same, but if you remember Pep Guardiola, you know, he made Messi was banging off the right wing, such as Lionel Messi. He made him a false nine. People kind of looked at him crazy when he got rid of Ronaldinho, Eto'o, all of these guys, even though their careers were winding down. You know, we've previously seen Arsene Wenger do that as well, and things like that. So yeah, there'll come a time when we have to do all these things, but I'd be happy with Declan Rice. But where Declan Rice and Caicedo and these kind of players are concerned, you know there's going to be an auction. And if you're West Ham, obviously you're going to need to, well, they have an option of another year where Declan Rice's contract is concerned. Obviously they're probably going to have to let him go regardless of that in the summer. But if you're West Ham, you're going to, no matter what we read, and we're going to get into it about Declan Rice wanting to, you know, putting the feelers out for Arsenal, you're not going to be in a rush. You know, how long is the summer window? About 2-3 months. You're not going to be any rush. You know, if Arsenal give you 80 to 100 million or 75 to 100 that you want, great. But if you're West Ham, put yourself in their shoes. You're not going to be in a rush to get rid of Declan Rice. You're going to, similar to what Shakhtar did with Arsenal and Chelsea, similar to Atletico with the João Felix loan with Arsenal, Man United and Chelsea. You're going to provoke a bidding war. You know, Arsenal might dot I's and cross T's, but you're going to leave a healthy gap so that Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, whoever could get involved. The same goes for Moses Caicedo and any player that is in quote-unquote high demand, bro. City are in big trouble. We've seen that really with the Rico case thing, allegedly. It's a hype, man. It's a hype. You know, the first thing I would say, obviously, Juventus got done dirty, Barca got done dirty, but City will get out of this, you know. City make more commercially, whether they're inflating or not. They make more commercially than a lot of other clubs. I don't quite think they're going to get points deduction and all of that jazz that some people are on, but I'm sure you've all seen the emerging news in the last few moments. When I say moments, probably the last hour. Premier League charges Manchester City over alleged financial rules breach. League refers alleged breach to independent commission. Alleged financial breaches cover period from 09-010 to 17-18. The Premier League has charged Manchester City with breaching its rules on more than 100 occasions over multiple years. I mean, what single club hasn't, people? If proven, these would be the greatest offences committed by a club in the history of the competition. 1 second, people. Just got an alert on Twitch. Apologies for such. Sorry, people. Okay, back where we were, people. The Premier League has charged Manchester City with breaching its rules on more than 100 occasions. Smash the like button, people, over multiple years. If proven, these would be the greatest offences committed by a club in the history of the competition. The independent commission, which will consider the charges, could recommend that City be expelled from the competition. Yeah, really, they're going to expel Manchester City from the Premier League. You're going to lose Pep Guardiola and all the talking points and things. So that's a myth, you know. Suspended or dot points, that's a myth. I mean, definitely where Arsenal are in the table, I'd love for them to get it. But this is a myth because, again, I'm no legal man. But you'd imagine these sanctions are 1, threats, 2, haven't been carried through yet. And 3, obviously, Manchester City have the right to appeal. So one has to wonder, until they get that appeal, these sanctions can't take place. And 4, have they not been through this already? Sort of thing. Again, I'm no finance man. I'm no accountant. I'm definitely no lawyer. But yeah, it is what it is. These are just potential threats. Those sanctions are listed in the Premier League's handbook, but the commission is clear to apply any punishment it considers appropriate. Now, Manchester City are going to be able to afford the best lawyers and the best independent advice, so it's probably a myth. The 6-time Premier League, and off topic, it makes sense now why Pep was like, oh, I'm never going to forget 7 or 8 teams tried to report City. But for what it's worth, the 6-time Premier League champions have been accused of failing to give a true and fair view of the club's financial position. I mean, everyone's financially doping. You know, if we're going to put RICO cases on people, what about them? No snitching, but what about them lot in, they say West London, but South West London, really? You know, Todd Burry's got to be doing something, innit? Really and truly. But yeah, man, they've failed to give a fair, a true and fair view of the club's financial position, or failing to include full details on player and manager remuneration. I can't even say that. After failing to comply with rules regarding FFP and failing to cooperate in the Premier League's investigation that has concluded after more than 4 years, the charges will send shockwaves throughout the world of sports. City have reshaped football since they were taken over. They were taken over by a private equity group controlled by the royal family of Abu Dhabi in 2008. The value of their squad is estimated to be more than 1 billion, and the club sits at the heart of a global network of 12 footballing teams. The financial charges brought against Manchester City covered the period 09 to 018, and and those requiring a club to cooperate with and assist the Premier League in its investigations extended from 2018 to this season. The charges will be heard by an independent commission to be appointed by the chair of the Premier League Judicial Panel, Murray Rose and QC. Now, all of these guys are brethren in it, so nothing's going to happen. City were banned from the Champions League by UEFA in February 2020 after being found to have broken the financial rules of the competition and misled the European governing body, only for the ban to be overturned on appeal by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. One central finding that City's Abu Dhabi ownership had disguised its own funding as independent sponsorship by the state's commercial companies. I mean, that's no different from half of these clubs, especially those with diplomatic ties, and that's actually a reflection in society. But you go and just walk through London and see who owns buildings and things like that and owns certain companies. Everyone's doing the banduli. But anyways, documents disclosed as part of the Footy Leaks hack appeared to show that City had inflated the values of sponsorship deals from Abu Dhabi companies and channeled money from the Gulf state to the club. Documents also suggested that the Manchester City manager Roberto Mancini had been in receipt of a second secret salary during his time at the club. City have also denied any wrongdoing. They've previously described the Footy Leaks revelations as clear and organised attempt to damage the club's reputation. A club statement today said Manchester City is surprised by the issuing of these alleged breaches of the Premier League rules. Now, they knew it. The Independent Commission and those within football knew that this wasn't just going to come out today. They had to have been briefed that this was incoming. Like I said, everybody's friends. Everybody knows someone of someone. Someone at Man City probably knows someone as part of the Independent Commission, etc., and was able to get the feelers out. And you'd imagine in the last week, maybe 24 to 48 hours, legal teams, PR teams, club officials, they've all been briefed of this thing. Nothing is a coincidence in life, especially with the money involved in football, really and truly. So we'll have to see, people. But Manchester City FC is surprised by the issuing of these alleged breaches of the Premier League rules, particularly given the extensive engagement and vast amount of detailed materials that the EPL has been provided with. The club welcomes the review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists in the support of its position. As such, we look forward to this matter being put to rest once and for all. The Premier League said proceedings before the commission would, in accordance with its rules, be confidential and heard in private. So there you get it. I don't quite think they're going to get, points deductions and things. Forgive me, City, or God, better yet, because it's not right. But you'd love it to happen, especially the points deduction. It'll be expensive and drag on. I mean, what's expensive to Man City? The man got peas in it, so it all depends, people. Manchester City's Premier League charges must lead to relegation if proven, says a former financial advisor to the champions, and they will have no financial advantage on lawyers. Yeah, right. Can you blame me for being pessimistic? Manchester City must be relegated if charges related to breaking FFP rules are proven, according to a former financial advisor to the club. Boy, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But I don't quite think the headlines is wavy as not, people. And relegation, I don't think that's going to happen. But on the lawyer thing, if we have the capacity to rip apart the UEFA investigation, surely our 50 best lawyers in the world can see this is off. Or is it all about time-bound not coming into the equation? Borson continued to say that ultra-wealthy City would not have any financial advantage in fighting the allegations. Some of the charges look like time-barred unless deliberate concealment is proved. And yes, 50 lawyers will fight hard, but so will the 50 Premier League lawyers. All the same firms, chambers, quality and reputation. City have no financial advantages at all in the levels of lawyers available. Once again, we've been through the charges already. So again, all depends where you read into that, people. Long story short, they've been cooking their books allegedly and inflating sponsorship and several other things. So we'll have to see what's being said in that regards. But I wouldn't hope for it. Maybe it'd be good for the top 4, top 6, top 10 clubs, because it means, Man City is bad news for the Premier League, really and truly. So we'll have to see how that develops. But yeah, man. Get timestamp. What are you lot saying before we get on to stuff, man? Big up yourself, my dude. Appreciate that. Kind words, man. If we got Caicedo and Rice, what would your starting midfield be? That's the thing, because on one hand, I think Declan Rice is a curtain raiser, and I think Caicedo could form into that. But at the current moment, Thomas Partey, as you saw, he didn't have the best of games. No one did against Everton, but he comes off wearing problems. You lose that experience factor and what Partey gives you. Granit Xhaka, I do kind of feel, as much as I like him, and I'm not saying we should get rid of him, I think that's where we're going to be in problems. I think not that Xhaka needs to come out the team, not that we need to sell him, but Granit Xhaka is, the fabric to our club to a degree, helps things tick over. He's shown himself as a multifunctional player. all of these, you know, them two are 29, 30. They can still play for a number of years, but you want to get the long-term replacement or heir to their throne before it becomes evident. You know, you look at Jens Lehmann early days in the Emirates. We waited, and well, to be honest, you know, we've had a couple of rubbish keepers at the Emirates, but we waited until he really, really fell off to really move for him, really and truly. In hindsight, probably did the same with Aubameyang. But on one hand, you could sign Moses Caicedo and Declan Rice. And obviously, you know, if you show why Mikel Arteta bought you, then you'll play. Arteta would have a lot of options, which he's been a bit more fixated on his starting 11, but has shown he'll be flexible where required. So you could get in the team. But, you know, again, I'd imagine Xhaka and Partey, because they're experienced players in a young squad, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're not being dislodged anytime soon. So you could make a case of you sign these guys, and they're not necessarily in the starting 11, but I do think we need midfielders. You look at our midfield now in terms of personnel. Partey's not there, and especially if El Nene's not there, smash the like button. We lose that combative figure in the middle of the park, as stated already, people. And we just don't have enough options, really. So, again, on one hand, you'd imagine Declan, I think one of Declan Rice and Moses Caicedo. I think where Caicedo is concerned, he'd probably be more of a rotation player initially. I think Declan Rice could probably take Partey's spot. Declan Rice could even take Xhaka's spot. I think he's more aligned to playing the 6, but he seems a fairly multifunctional player. And Arteta has got, you know, start of the season, Xhaka was putting in goals, and he got an assist the other day, really, against United. Forgive me if I'm wrong, or definitely win something. But he's shown he can redevelop players, so you never know. But you can make a case, Andre, that you sign these guys and it doesn't bang. Rodri to Arsenal would be lovely. Bring Rico Lewis with him. City always bust case. We should be getting both Rice and Caicedo this summer after getting Champions League, but I don't trust Edu to get the big name signings over the line, as we have shown in the past. Not surprised that Man City was hit by sanctions by the Premier League, and when they get done with them, they need to hit Chelsea with sanctions for their crazy spending in this window. City always bust case. Thoughts on the Man City situation deduction? Jay, I think you, based on when you've commented that, I've probably covered them opinions. Any punishment will be next season. It's looking long for YSLC. Look at these guys, man. Good morning, DJ in the nation, and to the hardest working man on YouTube. I want to be the smartest working man, but I appreciate that. The board and Edu better start working on summer window targets and having backup plans if they don't get the main targets. No excuses next season. Amen. No need for relegation. Just need to set punishment and create new rules. That will stop ludicrous spending. Burhi about to blow the bag and get a ban. Rice ain't coming. Moyes wants to cash. Smith Rowe needs to get fit. Mitoma, Zubamendi, Lone Balogun to Brighton. Sel Tavares, Nelson to Palace. Nelson's going to be a free agent, or Brighton on a free. Cedric will be a free agent. Smith Rowe to centre mid. Big up DJ. I just want to say I was saying Jorginho wasn't too bad, but that first performance proves he's too slow. No legs at all. We need Caicedo and Rice for real next season, and we should beat MSN. What is that? Who's that? No clue who that is, my guy, but one love nonetheless, man. One love nonetheless. Shout out the yard ones. 330 million in sponsorship for City seems a bit sus. I mean, everyone's cooking their books, really and truly. You know, I don't think our club is an exception to the rule. Everyone's doing the bandulu. Everyone's doing dirty. Obviously, some are doing it more than others, really. Osimhen's probably dream chasing. You know, his price has probably ballooned even more. So probably no chance of Arsenal signing him, especially while you've got Eddie and Jesus. But what do I know? You know, if there's an opportunity to do it, I'd rather the Georgian lad at Napoli. But who doesn't want lit players, if I'm completely honest? But I don't, where City are concerned, I can't see points deduction, really. But it's not for me to see anything, really. Let's see what else is going on with the transfer needs for Arsenal. Arsenal to pay London living wage to all staff. That's great, especially with rising costs and things like that. Help people out. What else is going on? Once again, don't forget, people, 6:45, we are watching Arsenal versus Watford. Even if you're not going to be there, smash the like button. Madrid going to get Haaland. I mean, if City could be torn apart, it'd be lovely for everyone. Prem saying that moving forward, Rashford's goal versus City will be offside and Chelsea spending last window won't be allowed. How convenient. Man, no one cares about that. It's like, again, forget all of that, because it will. Again, it's like against Man United when the independent ref is coming out and saying, oh, the goal that Odegaard, Odegaard's rolling the disallowed goal shouldn't have, it should have been allowed to stand. That's great, but we can't go back in time, really. I mean, how on God's green earth Rashford is an effective play against City is another thing, but it's nothing to do with Man United or Rashford. They'll get done dirty. They've done the dirty, and that's happened to Arsenal and will happen to Arsenal. There's a lot of inconsistencies, and I've always said I don't think the Premier League want consistencies, if I'm completely honest with you, because you lose the talking points. You and I and everyone listening are not waffling about that. You don't get to, on BT, they don't wheel out the retired refs. you know, it's part of the. I hate to refer to football as a business or entertainment, but you've got to look at it like that. You lose the controversy, you lose the talking points and things like that. The grass is longer than it should be. These RICO charges are mad. Who would you like the club to bring in the summer window? I mean, I can't lie. I would like Moses Caicedo because I do think he's a specific number 6. If you could bring someone of that caliber, be great. I would like Zubamendi because I just think he played a bit like Rodri, different, but they kind of play the 6 role how I would like it. If you can get Declan Rice, just because it would be your first target, go and get that one over the line. I would like, Zaire Warren Emery of PSG, but that ain't going to bang. Would try and spin the block for Karim Adeyemi, but he's just got his feet under the door at Dortmund. He's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. We were previously linked with Yunus Musa. It'd be a shame if them links, there was no credibility in that. Bring the guy home is what I would say, if I'm honest with you. Let's go over there. Let's go over there. So, yeah, it is what it is. We've also been linked with Milinkovic-Savic once again, folks. If you believe any of that. Oh, I deleted that. Oh, sorry, people. I was getting all the tabs ready for you lot, and I've actually just closed it. Milinkovic-Savic. I mean, I always look at things with an ounce of pessimism that comes out of Italy, especially in that, just by typing his name. Man United taking few steps to sign him. Newcastle are trying to sign him. Talks of a new contract at Lazio. Let me type in Arsenal because it's easy for us to be linked with him. Let's go over there. Let's put these over here. Bloody hell, man. Thought this was going to be a quiet day. Whether Dream is free, the Arsenal is sold separately, as you lot already know, and I say all the time. So we'll have to see. Personally, I'd prefer Vlahovic over Osimhen, both great. Though I can't lie, on current form, I'd rather Osimhen. I do like Vlahovic. He's just looking a bit booky. DJ, I'm ready to see Tommy brought back to the right back spot. Don't think White should be entitled to the 11 due to mainly a high price tag. No one should. And I think more than anything, Benjamin is looking a bit tired physically. So it could be time to bring in Tomiyasu. We should pay whatever it takes to get even Jude Bellingham. I think our owners should stop being stingy now. It doesn't help us, and that has been proven over the years. I would like more spending from our owners, as much as it's easy for everyone, including myself, to talk about a next person's money. But at the same time, when you look at Arsenal spending, can we really say that? Like, again, we can be a bit inconsistent over the cronkies and things like that. But we spent the bag, bro. Jude Bellingham for us. I'm not saying Arsenal don't have a chance. I think you could be in the running. You could present a project. You could probably tailor a bid to be accepted. But there's a lot of probably hidden fees in that. You're fighting against Madrid. Liverpool have probably been sweetening them up for the next year. Jude Bellingham, I'm sure Mikel Arteta would love him, but it don't appear to be someone. Where is the spending thing on this, man? Because Arsenal have spent peas. We can't act like we ain't spent peas, man. Transfer mark's doing me a bit dirty, really. We've spent peas, bro. Like, is this gonna work? Why isn't it sharing with you? Like, is Transfermarkt gonna allow us to look at this on? Well, better yet, let's zoom out. We've spent peas, man. We've spent peas. Is there a way to look at the transfer window? Doesn't matter. Summer transfers only. Let's start with that. We've spent some peas, man. We spent some peas, bro. Like, they're saying 132 euros, so that's 100 and something or something like that. I mean, I'd just like to know our rivals. But yeah, we spent 52 million on Jesus, 35 on Zinchenko, 20 odd on Fabio Vieira, 6 on Matt Turner, 3 million on unproven Marquinhos. We've obviously got a loan fee for Balogun. We've got Guendouzi out the door. We've spent money, to be brutally honest with you. Obviously, we could see more spending, and we're spending peanuts in relation to anything. But with the last 2 windows, we've spent money, bro. Like, Benjamin White was bought for 50 million, English tax or not, off the back of one Premier League season. As much as, historically we've got onto the Kroenkes, we have to be a bit fair. Anything we've got or haven't got in this squad has probably been through the successes or the failures of Mikel Arteta, Edu, and the technical staff of convincing clubs, players to get over the line, really and truly. If if you're willing to spend what you was on Mudryk and several other things, we've indirectly showed our hand with Vlahovic, with Mudryk. When we're convinced, we're here to put down the bread. Clearly, the owners of the club have sanctioned that. Whether we're able to dot I's or cross T's has been a completely different argument, really and truly. Transfermarkt ain't the best in that regards, but yeah, man. Savage has had more links than Chelmain. If he was that good, he'd be gone by now. Surely it's been years, bit like Koulibaly. Rice ain't coming. Edu can't close them deals. We don't close deals that are announced public. to be fair, Ramsdale and White, but I get you. Just being devil's advocate. West Ham just waiting on Chelsea bid and price hike. Rice has to push through his own move. Amen. I agree with everything you said there. I reckon Zubimendi will need less grooming than Rice in terms of how their styles of play would fit into our system. You're right. And with Zubimendi, release clause thing. You put the release clause, you get the man in it. Do you rate Zanolio? Yeah, I do. I mean, it's a bit rubbed seeing him go Galatasaray / Fenerbahce. He's had a tough time with 2 big ACL injuries, I believe. The market's been silly for years. It's been silly for years. The market is this. It's either adapt or survive. On one hand, we're all saying, sure, like everything, there has to come an end to it. But like in society, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. It doesn't look like there's any light at the end of the tunnel immediately. This is the Premier League now. This is football. You know, Premier League teams, Bournemouth are slugging it with AC Milan. If we go on, but how many players do you see a British club might try and buy them? And the foreign teams acting over 20 million, these same guys go and sign for a next foreign team, either in the same country or elsewhere, for about 12 million. Everyone in the Prem knows you got money. That's why Brighton, you go back a couple of years, Harry Maguire is not costing 70, 80 million. You know, we're not paying 50 million for Benjamin White and things. Everyone is trying to finesse. And again, the correlation between a player's ability and actually what they're worth, there's no correlation anymore. It's how good you are. You either sign these players that were linked with, easier said than done because development and that. You either sign these players when you need, before they become household names, the Mudriks, the Caicedos. You know, my man 12, 18 months ago, to us common football fans, who was Mudrik? We can act like experts, but who was he? Caicedo was signed for 5 million. Man United tried to buy him in them times there as well. So the players are out there. You know, people didn't take Barcelona, Man United didn't take a chance on Martinelli. We did the scouting that served us right at this moment. So you either adapt to it, and I'm not saying you have to go and spend mad money because everyone's financial situation is different, but you either put down the money, you either find these players before, or you complain. Choice is yours. Just need to accept it, man. Andre, one love for, you know, your comments in relation to Arsenal's under 18s. It's an opportunity to watch it, man. So why not, man? Lovely talking points. Keep them coming. Not saying we're not spending money, but we don't go for elite players, bro. We hesitate. We can't get better with players who are good versus great players. I appreciate what we have. We just need a few better ones. I agree. And that's what I mean when I say curtain raisers, especially if you're going to rock up in the Champions League. You need players that are curtain raisers, players that have a bit of stardust about them, you know. For Arsenal, I would say off the top of my head, historically, you know, in the Emirates era, slightly Arshavin, definitely Alexis Sanchez, Mesut Ozil, I'd hail up Santi Cazorla as well. On a lesser level, but for us, for the goals he scored at Aubameyang, we need them players that when things are going wrong, there's just a mad thing there. Like Alexis was scoring week in, week out. Salah at Liverpool's going to bag week in, week out. We've got some good players. We've got some players trying to develop that, but we don't quite have that. Players that can just get you out of trouble when there's no reason. You know, you look at the last cup, you know, when we're playing low blocks, you know, if you play a low block against Arsenal, you have half a chance. Maybe a player that can just get us over the line, really and truly. You know, Saka would probably be that. You know, when you look at Saka's shot cleared off the line, Martin Odegaard's a quality player, but Martin didn't hit the target. Eddie crashed the shot over. Saka's effort off the line. These are 3 minimal chances against a team fighting relegation in 19th. A Stardust player will probably just get you out of there, really and truly. I don't know. Who would you drop for the upcoming fixtures? Fixtures, the S is a bit subjective, bro. But if we was playing Brentford tomorrow, on one hand, I wouldn't change the team because I feel, you know, good or bad. I think a good part of why our season's here is because we've got consistency. Relationships have been building. Now Zinchenko with Martinelli, which can still get better, or historically, whoever's down the left-hand side. You know, Smith Rowe's got a good relationship with people when he plays. Saka and Benjamin White with Odegaard historically. You know, Jesus is in the mix. The defenders in Gabriel and Saliba. Obviously, Ramsdale behind them. So I don't really want to kill that. And whether we've won, drawn, or lost games, this has been the vast majority of the players. And I feel let's not mess up the script. Let's just keep going with what we've got. But if we was playing Brentford tomorrow, I think there is a genuine case to start Tomiyasu in place of Benjamin White. And obviously Trossard off the bench is a bit difficult. But I think there is a case to start Trossard over Martinelli. I would say if you could only press me for one of the two, I'm probably more likely to say, you know what, Benjamin, take a little breather. Tomiyasu, you come in. Then Martinelli. But I can understand like Martinelli's gone a bit quiet, if I'm honest with you. I think there's a bit of reasons for that. I feel on one hand, he is quite predictable the way he tries to I don't know, certain people, couple people are moving mad on in the comments, but yeah, just that guy's made me lose my trail of thought, my guy. So I guess we'll never know. Yeah, on one hand, I think the cocktail of Martinelli, I think sometimes he can be a bit predictable. You know, he needs to add that variety to his game. I feel he needs an overlapping man, and Zinchenko does do it on occasion, but he's told clearly to go be a midfielder. So there you have it, man. Eddie should have scored, man, kicked the ball into space. He tried to go for power into the near post versus putting it across the goal. But these are fine margins. But even that, going against Everton for the standards we've set, by our own standards, is pretty unacceptable if we're completely honest, really. We've had 3 clear-cut chances, which you sometimes need to win, but I'm remembering these. I want to create so much chances, put Pickford or whoever under so much pressure. We can't. I can remember 3 good chances, I would say. Eddie, when he set up Odegaard, who's missed. Eddie, when what we just said, where he should have went across goal, he's tried to blast it. Saka's deflected slight effort off the line by, it could have been Connor Cody. 3 chances. We're winning the league by 20 points, leading, coming. I hope so. What Zinni gives you in the middle, it takes away from the left. I think we need to switch it up, and that's why you need different systems. Con, you're right, but that is the thing, really. You know, certain players you're gonna live or die by that. If you have a striker that can put every, you know, in the box, he'll finish anything, but he's not the best in terms of general play. You know that you now need to create a bit more, really. But you are right. We do need variety, and this is why fans are seeing it now. But Arsenal fans always do this thing about we need to sell this guy because we've got this. It's like some Arsenal fans, some are scared of depth. You know, if Zinchenko is injured or has a bit of a wobble, then you bring Kieran Tierney or whoever in. Benjamin White's been one of the first names on the team sheet. I would say it's 45 minutes against Man United. You know, Rashford's been savaging all season. But I do think he's looked a bit off the ball. Cool, Tomiyasu come in. If Tomiyasu's acting, vice versa. If Xhaka and Partey aren't quite doing the business, you know, if one of them's absent, if Martin Odegaard ain't doing the business, if Eddie or Jesus, you need different options, really. Long gone are the days of relying on one player. And unless you're Thierry Henry, Alexis Sanchez, Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah, you know, to a degree, Kevin De Bruyne, or these kind of guys at that sort of level in the Premier League, I don't think you should be relying on a single player, if that makes sense. But he should have scored. But even that, if I'm remembering 3 chances for a team that's been sharing out the goals, we didn't do enough against Everton. What pressure did we put Pickford under? Oh, cool. Pickford was beaten, you know, really and truly, and the effort was saved off the line, but we didn't do enough. But you are right. Zinchenko is a centre mid playing left back. You know, he knew he weren't going to be playing centre mid at City. He obviously found a role for himself, really. And when you look at wingers and fullbacks now, obviously, it goes through transitions. The most dangerous wide men are not players who are necessarily going to hug the touchline. They might, you know, someone like Adama or St. Maximin. St. Maximin had decent numbers last season or the year before. These sort of players, they'll put a fullback under pressure. They'll rip them, but it's more inside forwards now. You look at how Mo Salah talked about Jurgen Klopp's development of him. You look at Alexis Sanchez spoke on when he played as a false 9 with Arsene Wenger. You look on how Raheem Sterling dramatically improved his fortunes making certain runs. You need to kind of come off the touchline and kind of be in the half space these days. So that's something we need to really look upon. We do need to create and finish chances better. I think Trossard clearly has got more gears to his game than Martinelli. I mean, Martinelli's better than him for me, but Trossard's more experienced. He can take his man on. He can do the narrow thing. These are things Martinelli's got to improve at, really. So if you had to say one change, I would say Benjamin out for Tomiyasu. I do think, like when we was going into the City game in the FA Cup, I think Tomiyasu and Trossard has been the one. And for the last couple of games, for me personally, I've dared the left wing and right back. You've probably Man City, Man United, obviously Everton, and going into Brentford. So let's say the 3 games we've played, I've been saying these sort of things personally. But that's what happens. We've got a young, volatile squad who is trying to get to that level. Like they've shown great examples of consistency. In a degree, when you're a football club and you're doing well and there's a level of overperformance, sometimes it normalizes out. We've been able to ride our momentum and do very well this season. So when you have the wobbles against Newcastle, against Everton, against Southampton, against Man United, there's a certain platform and we've been able to react quickly. It's very different when you've had 5 games, you've lost 2, you've drawn 2, you've won 1. It's very different to react to that. And obviously you go back even last season, for whatever reason, Saka and Smith Rowe were almost at one point bagging week in, week out, did very great. But then they had a bit of a, towards the end of the season, they looked a bit gassed out. They looked a bit flat. We can't rely on, if we look at the team like City, City are doing a madness right now, but who do they rely on? Haaland didn't turn up yesterday. Good, our 6 foot, 7 foot monster in Haaland goes disappearing at White Hart Lane. I don't know. But you've got Haaland, you've got Grealish, you've got many talent. And obviously going back to the fullbacks, Zinchenko is a centre mid there. Rico Lewis of City's a centre mid there. Obviously, Trent has reinvented that role. Once Trent and Robertson were kind of the guys, you know, well, they were historically the top assisters for Liverpool, but that thing gets clocked. You need to be multifunctional now, man. I can't lie. Arsenal look soft is worrying. I thought them days were gone. I mean, we just have to see come game week, come May, really. I mean, on what occasions have Arsenal look soft? I mean, one game against Everton, you know, we lost at Old Trafford. We acquitted ourselves well. We was naive more than anything. It's the naiveties. Even when we've won games, we've done naive things. Again, we're an improved team trying to make what we've done this season last and obviously become the standard now because no one saw this in August. The only time we haven't shown fight was against Everton. And I would say there was fight because we got rattled in things. We just lost. Really, you know, against United, home and away, we equipped ourselves regardless of the result. We went to Brighton. Leeds is the toughest away game I've seen. We've gone to Crystal Palace, Brentford, Chelsea, games that have been talked up at the time as Arsenal's biggest game of the season. And the trailer hasn't been as good as the movie. It did annoy me because yesterday, well, on Saturday, I won't quite say we're a gritty team and all of them things yet because we're still learning, we're still trying to see things, but we can't be reactionary. We can't for weeks say there's a new mentality and then start waffling about the Everton thing. Yo, DG, Xhaka needs some time off the pitch. He isn't delivering in the last couple of games. He's not quite doing what he's doing at the start of the season, but I'd say his one poor game for me was Everton. I would say similar to, I'd say the poorest I've seen Benjamin White was probably the 45 minutes against Rashford, but it happens. I don't know how Granit Xhaka didn't come off for Partey. If there's injuries, and smash the like button, people. If there's injuries and all them things, then that's different. But yeah, and at the end of the day, if you lose Xhaka, Odegaard, and Zinchenko currently, you lose our build-up play and you make it even harder for us to break down a low block. That's the next step. I don't know what Arteta does. I don't know how he does it, whether you're bringing in players in next season. But for now, you've got to learn to break down low blocks because you know if you're congested, if you're compact, if you frustrate us, if you clear your lines well, you have half a chance, really. And I think these games there, you know, I would say Man United, because going into the game, Lokonga's starting, you sign up for games like that. Obviously, Partey and then they were injured. When you don't do certain things in the market, I indirectly think that about Everton over the weekend because there's no like-for-like six. You take Partey out, we get overran there. Like we probably know, if we're dominating possession, which technically we did, Jorginho and Xhaka, you can get away with it, but it doesn't really bang. So there's a couple of times we've seen these things this season. But this season can't be an anomaly. There has to, whether you win the league or finish in the Champions League space, I want to get to a scenario as an Arsenal fan where we're accustomed to this. We're not accustomed to this. We're enjoying the red. We're not accustomed to this. Historically, we are, but we haven't been since the Emirates. Yeah, there's been times, you know, you look at when it all went down the toilet the year we could have won it against Birmingham. Obviously, Arsenal, Spurs, Leicester season. There has been times, but where we've really been good, yeah, you get Ram going, man. General thoughts. Lovely talking points, though, man. This 7 game showed me we are missing a couple of players from the finished article. We're far from being the finished article. And there's still a lot of points that can be exploited. Sean Dyche has had our number for years. We know how he operates. We know exactly what Sean Dyche does. But again, if Xhaka comes out, who the hell is playing centre mid? Like, we've got depth in midfield, but on the face of it, we don't. Like, there's about 3 midfielders. El Nene's out for the rest of the season. There's 3 midfielders. You've got Xhaka, Partey, El Nene. Obviously, other than that, you're going to have to flirt with the Zinchenkos, the Smith Rowes, the Odegaards. There's probably a next one I'm missing out to play in that 8 role. For me, the biggest thing is we haven't got a like-for-like number 6. And that should never have been the thing. DG open to 60/80 for Balogun plus Balogun for Rice. You might as well, if you're going to do the 80 thing, you might as well just give them the 75, 80, 90 for Rice and call it quits. A lot of these players haven't played much crunch matches in intense situations. They have to learn on the job. Exactly. And as the gaffer, because it was another game like at Old Trafford, Arteta's made a change and we've conceded instantly. And away from that, if you not to be lazy in that regards, we've been overrun in midfield. In the same way I praise Mikel Arteta and Edu and the players and everyone, there's clearly question marks. There's a lot of question marks over the midfield as well. Do I think Xhaka's a good player? Yes. Do I think Jorginho can bring something to the squad like El Nene? Of course. Partey is clearly a good footballer. But if a couple of these players have having off days, if they're missing, if they're injured, if they're suspended, we kind of dropped down a level, really and truly. And I think Everton showed that. Everton pressed us well from front to back. But obviously, if you want to be a team that can play out from the back, you have to be able to beat a press, innit? There's no point being comfortable on the ball when teams are sitting off, everyone's in their own half. We beat the press quite well. But if you look in the game, once we started trying to get out of our own half or progress it into midfield, bar the occasions when the game's open on the transition, we're struggling. If you can't get your midfield in, the striker and the wingers are out of the game. And that's why you historically saw Saka and Martinelli dropping into like deep lying midfield positions or playing as fullbacks really to receive the ball. You indirectly saw that against Spurs with City against Spurs yesterday as well. Then obviously if that happens, you're further away from the opposition's goal, which is why Pickford had a very easy day. And then you create minimal chances. If you don't take the minimal chances, the Odegaard effort, the Eddie effort, and the Saka effort off the line, which 3 clear-cut chances created really out of a 90-minute game for me isn't good enough. You sign up for certain things. We're not, I hope to see it, but I don't think we're going to, I think a low block is going to be an issue of ours for a while this season. And obviously you could throw the Brighton game into that and Wolves for the heart comment as well. To be honest, Arteta lost us that game. I think everyone did. I think, the game was gone, but realistically, the game should have been done in Everton's favour in the first half. I think the subs didn't help. I think the players lost it. They didn't do the basics they've been doing all season. They didn't win their individual collective battles. They didn't defend well enough from a set piece, conceding from another set piece, second Premier League game in a row. They weren't, we weren't efficient or effective in the final third. We lost our heads towards the end of the game. Everyone has to take blame for the game. If we win together, such is life. The manager's the last to get praise when we win, subjectively. And then when we lose, it's all his fault. We win, lose, and draw together. What players, about two, 3 players against Everton could say, okay, cool. And they won't even do it. Can say, all right, I put a shift in. If it's not Zinchenko who lost his head, if you're not Zinchenko, if you're not Gabriel, if you're not Saliba, to a degree, if you're not the goalie Ramsdale and slightly Odegaard, but I would say the first 4 names, you didn't do enough. You didn't do enough. But last time I checked, there's 11 players out there. There's a squad of 20 and there's 38 games. We're not going to be elite for all of them. We need to just flush it out and react. Keyword reaction. When we lost to United, reacted the next week. When we drew against Newcastle, reacted the next week. When we dropped points against Southampton, reacted the next week. You need to react because Brentford are a tough team, trying to finish as high as they can in the table, wanting revenge due to the social media antics that we always do between each other, wanting revenge after how it was probably one of our most complete efforts this season away from home. They don't care that Arsenal are fighting for the league or whatever, or trying to get Champions League. That's going to be a tough one. And we all know if you don't take 3 points from that, obviously after dropping points against Everton, it's City next. And City aren't going to play like the one that turns up against Spurs or the one that was bookie against United, take nothing away from Tottenham Hotspur or Man United because they did enough to win the games. Have to get on with it. It would have been lovely to have 3 points against Everton. It would be lovely to have 6 points against Everton and Brentford going into that City game. But that's not the way the world works, really, is it now, people? DG, how much did the lousy pitch play a part in our passes being crazily slow? It probably did play a part, but bro, I'm not being funny. You man are professional footballers. Forget all of that. I know you become bougie and that, but, Goodison Park, whether it's been watered or not, and we're only common men and women, bro, you think if any of us get slapped at Goodison Park to go and play on that pitch, you, me, anyone going to act over that? And I'm not being funny, not to make it that. Some of you come from, half of these footballers come from humble beginnings, whether it's in their countries or elsewhere. A couple men are playing on concrete, needles where there's nitties and that. Like, bro, you can play football, man. The pitch is a dickhead thing, if I'm honest, man. The pitch is a cop-out. I can't be moaning about the pitch. Unless, well, you know what? Maybe the pitch is why Eddie's effort didn't go in. Odegaard missed. I don't know. But I just know when I look at that Everton game, it clearly played some part. But no, man. No. Really and truly. And even if they did not water the pitch or watered it too much or did any of that, it don't really mean nothing. It's like when Rory Delap days, you're going to move the advertising boards forward so he can't get momentum. He was fiending for his boy Jorginho to come on, which caused us to concede. To be fair, we was overran from that. And I wouldn't say Jorginho coming on is the sole reason we conceded. Who gave away the corner? What led to the being caught on the transition for the corner? What's going on for the marking on the corner? Because if I'm honest with you, William Saliba is the only one consistently. Gabriel as well was good. But from set pieces, Saliba's the only one that looked like he was listening to whatever was going on in London Coley going into that Everton game. And I'm not being funny. As much as the manager can brief, you can tell you these are professional footballers. These are guys that some guys here have won a lot of stuff. Some people experience. if you care about your craft, you know damn well what Sean Dyche brings to the table. We've seen it at Burnley. You know damn well what you was going into, that dungeon of Everton, because of how turbulent the club is, the new manager bounce and all of these things. You knew you was going to get kicked. You knew you was going to face a low block. You know, and as we keep doing what we're doing, teams are not just going to open and spread their legs for us. So everyone has to take blame. But if you sit there and just blame Arteta or just blame the players, I can't tell you what to think. Just think. That's a very naive way of looking at life, if I'm honest. Last time I checked, it's a squad game, man. And am I going to criticize Arteta for bringing on a midfielder when we could have probably needed to get more control in the game? Probably not. But it's another one. I would say there was shades of the. I will say I do think to a degree, you're right, in Everton and Man United away. We're going into the game with bookiness in midfield. We're making changes, and we've already lost the midfield battle. It's crazy, man. Everton game was Partey's first official loss this season in the Premier League. Will be interesting to see Partey's response. I mean, just got to get on with it, ain't you? Really. I can't see us having much harder games than Everton. Goodison was absolutely rocking for Dynasty. City have the same to go there. I disagree. There's many a tough game. And to be honest with you, if you look at the games we've played so far, on paper, the games that probably should have been plain sailing have probably not been. Fulham, West Ham, Newcastle, Brighton away, Wolves away, Leeds away. There's defo a couple at home, man. Fulham at home, West Ham at home, Villa at home. Every game is a difficult one in the Premier League, really. Look at United. They won on the face of it under no problems, but you get a man sent off. They, Palace get a goal back. These things are physically demanding, bro. So I think every game's going to be hard. More time it's the games that you think are straightforward. Like some of you might have thought, regardless of our Goodison Park record, that Everton was they're just going to roll. We're just going to roll up there and they're just going to roll over. It didn't work like that. So again, we have to accept it, flush it out of our system, and simply put, just go again, man. Sounds like Klopp. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. To be honest, DG, Edu and Vinay are lacking big style. We capitalized on the right combination of players to fill the gaps in the team. I believe we should have gone clear for the title this season. Arsenal need 4 players in total and a young player that we can develop to a beast. We need a centre defensive mid, a centre mid, a winger. What a way of spelling right. A right back and a young player. So in total 5, no more, no smaller. I don't know, man. Whatever Arteta wants, but I would like to see the midfield. We used the lifeline this weekend with Spurs beating City. Time to wake up. And one, I think as good as we've been this season, if you were talking about the title and fine margins, it's not that deep. But we've only got 2 losses this season. We've dropped 10 points. And if you aren't going to win the league, or God forbid, mathematically, it could still happen. God forbid, if you didn't get Champions League, you're going to be thinking, what if we turn up against United away from home a bit better? What if, obviously, we didn't drop points from away from home against Southampton and dropping points from a winning position? What if we approach the Everton game a lot more ferocious? Could we have got something? You can't go back in time. We just need to keep it moving, really and truly. Like, we just have to keep going, man. We've got nothing else. We've literally got nothing else. We've got no other option. So, yeah, man, maybe the pitch did play a part, man. I think there's several cocktails, but we just need to get on with it, really and truly. Pep's come out with his mind games and all that jazz as well, people, which is quite crazy. We'll have to see. With that being said, should we look at what the newspapers are saying, people? 48, better yet. Keep your opinions coming. Smash the like button if you have not done such already. You are right. We did use that lifeline. And again, points on the board, games in hand has to correlate to points on the board. Let's try from left to right for a change, people. Sharing my screen with you lot. Allegedly, I mean, how many players from Brighton do we want? We've been linked with McAllister now, Mitoma, Moses Caicedo. Arteta and Edu told World Cup winner can be signed for Arsenal for 62 million. Brighton have set an asking price for Alexis McAllister of 62 million. I mean, they could probably get that, but based on their hustle, but I don't think they're going to get that, if I'm honest with you. Probably more 40, 50, and even that, as good as he is. Apparently, I bet there will be no player feeling more confident than Brighton's Alexis McAllister. It's very easy to focus on how fabulous Messi was for Argentina. But the games I covered, McAllister was their best player. Okay. Oh, this is just an opinion from Graham Souness. Forget all of that, man. I mean, there's a lot of upside to McAllister. But forget all of that. I actually thought there was a link there. But anyways, Arsenal lead race for Brighton sensation Mitoma, but we'll have to fork out 35 million in the summer. Are they in any rush to sell Mitoma? Probably not. I mean, every player's got a price, and without knowing how much he actually costs, they probably will make a handsome profit on the lad. But he just got his feet under the door. probably looks like Moses Caicedo will leave. And obviously McAllister will probably leave, so they probably hold on to him and get some other players around them. It's not like Brighton don't have good cash reserves. You know, they brought in 50 million for Benjamin White, 20 odd for Basuma, you know, Cucurella 50, 60, and there's probably a name I'm missing out, really. So it's not like they're poor and they mismanage the club and they need to sell their leading player to keep the lights on. Arsenal leading the race to sign Brighton star Mitoma. The Seagulls could demand 35 million for the Japanese winger. Now, I don't quite believe that they'll sell him, much less for 35 million, much less that Arsenal are involved or interested in the lad. But if he was, and Brighton wanted to do business with us, doesn't that dispel the logic of, oh, we got a bad relationship? It is what it is. They signed him in 2021 for 2.7 million people. They'll make a handsome profit on such people. So I'm not too sure on that, but we have done business with Brighton for Benjamin White before. We have obviously signed Leandro Trossard, people. And obviously we had a bid rejected for Moses Caicedo. Apparently Arsenal remain keen on West Ham captain Declan Rice and as an alternative, but his gaffer claims it will take a British record offer. Pardon me for the irons to sell. So yeah, Liverpool battle Arsenal for Marco Asensio. All of us have been linked, people. Again, his contract is running down, but according to this, Liverpool are keen on signing a midfielder at the end of the season. So I'd imagine Declan Rice, Caicedo, and obviously Asensio. And obviously his contract is running down, people. We all know he can operate as an attacking mid and as a winger. Probably that's the only bulk of him being linked with us, people. Carl Walker's talking smoky. What is he said? Of course, it's a missed opportunity. They dropped points and we need to pick up points to close the gap, but there's still a lot of football to be played, as Carl Walker said. I've been here many, many years in the Premier League and I know the twists and turns that can happen. I know what this team is about. I know what this team can do. We can go on runs from now to the end of the season. It's just about us doing that, really. And he's right, people. This is the team we've got now to the end of the season. We'll fight towards the end. And Pep Guardiola has been, 1 minute he's backing his players, then he's getting on to them about their hunger and things. Pep Guardiola is in his mind games, people. It's important for us to be close and to leave fifth, which is Tottenham right now, far away to secure qualification for the Champions League. The team started really well, many things, but after a mistake, we made 2 weeks again. We repeat it again. We are not in a position to think about being champions. Just the next game, Aston Villa, we will prepare well and play our game as best as possible. Spurs have a fantastic team and squad. They punish you. They have a lot of quality up front and don't need much with transitions, set pieces. Give a lot of credit to them. I think there's a couple of other things. I don't know why Pep Guardiola was moaning about this, but he said coming from Manchester to London is like going to Northern Europe. It's 4 hours. 20 minutes to get to the hotel. Is so exhausting. I'm sorry. So what about the teams from all over the world and all over the country that have to travel? That's not unique to you, lad, and that didn't matter when you lot were winning. Pep's just doing up mind games, people. As a coach, you have to anticipate things before they happen, which is true. Absolutely true. And I think if you read this first paragraph, people, there's a lot of parallels between where his City players maybe he deems they're at now. I won 4. Smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't. I won 4 Ligas in a row in Spain when I was a footballer. In the 5th year, I was not the same. In the 6th year, I was not the same. Maybe that's even why Casemiro left a great thing in Real Madrid to sign for a historical big club in Man United, but not currently there because the hunger. Varane as well. You do get a bit complacent. I was not starving enough. Caviar. Madrid beat me the 5th and 6th. I understand the players, but I am here to do it. Crazy. He said, I realized a little bit later it's difficult for a player to realize in real time exactly what is happening. It's ridiculous how small the margin is between winning and losing. You have to pay attention. I tried my best. I never doubt that players do their best, but at the same time, you think, okay, I've done it. I've won. After to be top again, it takes time. Fair enough. And he praised Johan Cruyff, obviously, as well, people. So again, Pep is in the mind games, man. Pep is doing up mind games, man. Pep is fully doing up the mind games. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. He spoke about Caicedo, but yeah, man. He then said, firstly, I don't admit it. Secondly, if I did admit, I would be admitting that my players are not good enough. I never understand a manager who says his team are not good enough and they need 7 new players. I have to talk with them. I have to train them. Tell me which one is not good. All of them are good. If we are able to play in our system that we believe in the individuals will rise. So I do not accept the players are not good enough. Of course, they're good. It's my job to make them feel good, play and develop. Crazy. And they have obviously, I do think they're missing Zinchenko, Raheem Sterling, and Gabriel Jesus. Good, vital squad players for them. I think that's enough with Pep Guardiola's verbal. Shout out to obviously Gabriel Jesus, people. He's back running, as you can see here. Hopefully, there's no. Let's turn this off. As you can see, oh, you might not even be able to see. Let's bring it back. So it's nice to see he's back running. This is personal trainer. Just because he's running don't mean he's back anytime soon. But it's lovely to see from Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal and Chelsea have always been interested in Declan Rice. It remains to be seen if the Manchester clubs join the race. West Ham could ask for a price between 90 and £100 million, which doesn't surprise me. Asensio's agents are in London. It could be for some other reasons. Again, you're all seeing the news about City there. But again, further confirmation on Asensio. Marco Asensio's agent jets in for Arsenal talks with Mikel Arteta, a fan of the Real Madrid star. Allegedly, people, his agents will fly to London this week to get a feel for the Premier League interest in their client. The 27-year-old's future is still uncertain, and Real Madrid will wait until March or April to decide whether or not to offer him fresh terms. So that probably tells you that they've probably made the decision, but maybe your form could do something to tip the balance. His current deal expires this summer, and they only signed him for 4 million. And they might deem, you know what, we signed you many years ago for 4 million. You've gone from a young man to an experienced individual. You know, it is what it is. Let's let you go. You've scored some goals, some crucial goals for us. That 4 million has helped us win in your own way the Champions League. His current contract situation has opened a door for his agents to see what else is out there. And obviously, agents might not have no interest of letting his client go to the Prem. They might be using that to pit against Madrid's offer. And Arsenal, whose boss Mikel Arteta is a fan, are among the clubs they are planning to talk to. Asensio is looking for a 4-year deal at 27. That will tie him down to 31, and a higher wage than he receives in Madrid, which is a reported 118k a week, people. So, yeah, and his future is always volatile. As it said there, last year he was leaning towards an exit. Apparently, he's got interest from all over Europe. PSG tried to sign him, allegedly. I don't really buy the rumours. I mean, he'd be welcome, but why not? Arsenal are still dealing with a number of injury concerns ahead of a huge run of fixtures. I mean, we know Gabriel Jesus is out. We've just looked at that. We know El Nene's season's done. We know Smith Rowe's having a tough 7 months of this opening season. And Reece Nelson is back in training, and he could be involved against Brighton, people. Lewis Dunk reveals how Moses Caicedo and Brighton players reacted to midfielders' attempts to join Arsenal, people. Let's see. Apparently, they stuck with him. They have to. He's one of your best players. He's going to help you get European football, whether he stays at Arsenal or not. I mean, joins Arsenal or stays at Brighton, it's irrelevant until the end of the season. Obviously, it was a difficult situation for him, and these things happen in football. It's not the first, and it won't be the last players at a football club having this going on over their heads. He's a young boy. We stick with him. He's a great lad and obviously a fantastic player. Who knows how long we'll have him, and we're grateful to have him for at least the rest of the season and hopefully for longer. I reckon he goes Chelsea personally. I think it's a massive statement from the club standing their ground. Obviously, we've sold players over the years to bigger clubs, but I think it's a great statement to show that we want to keep him, and I think rightfully so. So, yeah, people, once again, his agent did say last week the offers were received. You see what is on the table, and Moses says that he wants to go forward. That is the dream of his whole life. That is an opportunity that may not be repeated in life, his rep said, people. So there's that. Declan Rice. Arsenal told Declan Rice transfer demands by West Ham boss David Moyes, who might not even be there. David Moyes himself said, you know, they'll have to be blown out of the water. Undoubtedly, Declan is going to be a top player. He'll be a British transfer record if he ever leaves West Ham. There's a lot of talk about it, and when you see what's going on, what's going about for the prices, I think Dec will be blowing that out the water. That's for sure when it comes around. Fair enough, people. He's got an option to another year. He's contracted until 2024. I don't think they're going to quite get Enzo Fernandez money. 75 to 100 million is the ballpark allegedly. So we'll have to see. Again, kind of staying with Declan Rice. Apparently, the Gunners prefer a move for Declan Rice over Moses Caicedo. I think the Caicedo thing is gone, if I'm honest with you, people. Despite Brighton pricing Arteta's side out of a move for the Ecuador midfielder, it seemed likely they would return for him in a few months, but Arsenal could prioritise a move for Rice over the youngster. Instead, some people say either or, some people say we're going for both. We should be braced for anything, that we get both, that we get one, or we get none, as shown probably with Mudryk and João Felix. The Daily Mail reports that Arsenal have emerged as the surprise runners in the race to sign Declan Rice, and the North Londoners have identified him as their top target. Arsenal prepared to break their club record fee to sign Rice. He's said to be valued at around 80 million, but West Ham will want a fee north of 100 million, despite their chances of receiving this kind of money for the 24-year-old being deemed slim. The Mail notes that Arsenal are now set to turn their full attention to signing the Hammer star in the summer, despite going all out for Caicedo last month, people. 75, 80 for Caicedo. However knows what Rice is, and both teams will probably turn down them initial offers. In Brighton's case, once again, we've seen these Matoma things already, people. Sander Berge wants to become a free agent. Arsenal and Newcastle are keen. It feels like we're going through full circle. Apparently, he can now see out the final 18 months of his Sheffield United contract, and he's got interest from Arsenal and Newcastle. So if he's going to wait a year, who knows what Arsenal's midfield is going to look like in a year. We have previously been linked with him, people. So I imagine we're continuing our scouting. And obviously, he's worked with our assistant coach, Stuvenberg at Gent as well. So we'll have to see, really. I don't quite buy that. Arsenal target Ruben Neves, now almost certain to leave Wolves. Reported Arsenal target Ruben Neves is now almost certain to leave Wolves this coming summer. Apparently, The Athletic have reported the midfielder has not been persuaded to sign a new contract at the Molineux, new people. So we'll have to see. Apparently, Arsenal are targeting him. He was part of the Wolves team that absolutely tore Liverpool a new one at the weekend. Dean Jones has spoken, said something apparently remains on the wish list. The Athletic didn't say where he goes. What did this specifically say then? Arsenal still have Telemans and Neves on their radar. I mean, I don't know about any of this. I just want to see specifically what's been said. Players like Yuri or Ruben Neves are still players I'd consider to be on Arsenal's list. By all means, Moses Caicedo, Declan Rice, Zubamendi, Ruben Neves, Yuri Telemans, this guy, that guy, the third people, and some other names, really. They're players we should probably look out for this window or at the end of the season. Well, that was previously in Jan. No one was leaving in Jan. Allegedly, Declan Rice is sounding out people connected with Arsenal over a move. Apparently, Adrian Clark has told the Athletics Handbrake Off podcast that West Ham United captain Declan Rice has been sounding out those connected with Arsenal regarding what it's like at the Emirates. And we've previously heard in private terms, he's glowing about Arsenal, really and truly. So we'll have to see exactly what's been said. But allegedly, I can't reveal my source, but I do know that Declan Rice has been sounding out people connected with Arsenal in regards to what's it like, what's it really like. So that sounds like a positive. You know, we're going to have to dot I's and cross T's. And he had a great performance at the weekend against Newcastle. Allegedly, N'Golo Kante is wanted by Atletico Madrid, and Arsenal also monitoring things. It's about 10 years too late, better yet, for him. We don't need to read that. We've read that. Allegedly, Moses Caicedo remains on Arsenal's transfer list ahead of potential summer move, says Romano. Allegedly, we're still interested. Caicedo will complete the season with Brighton, but the expectation of those close to the club and to the players that at the end, Caicedo in the summer will have his top club move. This is the feeling. This is the expectation. Caicedo remains on the list of Arsenal, but also Chelsea and Liverpool. Caicedo will probably get his top move in the summer. This is the expectation of those around the player, people. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. We did try to prize him away in the summer. It did not bang. So it is what it is. Declan Rice previously said off topic, we're 100% a top team. You can see they are coached incredibly well, have a lot of attacking talent, a young squad, and they can go the whole way for sure. Allegedly, people, any potential move for the Ecuadorian, Moses Caicedo, will not impact Arsenal's pursuit for West Ham United captain Declan Rice. Football London understands. Error there, got space. The Gunners still hold a keen interest in signing Rice in the summer, with the England international widely expected to leave the Hammers at the end of the current campaign. So it all depends, man. Everyone's adding their own little spin, people. I mean, Pep is talking nonsense about exhaustion. When you're rolling up at the Emirates and smacking us up, there's no issue. Just kind of going into the mind of Brighton, people. Again, Brighton are challenging for Europe, and this is why they don't want to tear up their squad. This is De Zerbi's comments in relation to European qualification. For sure, we would like to try to arrive in the Europa League, but for the level of the club, it's not my problem. I don't know the politics of the club. I can't decide, no. I can decide the way in terms of quality of play, in terms of style of play. Yes, the first 11, but the politics of the club, no. I personally think Brighton will lose this man if he keeps doing what he's doing at some point, people, in his career. West Ham always asks for big money for Declan Rice. It was 150 1 year ago. Today, I think the price could be around 90 to 100, but it depends on many factors, and it's really too early to predict the final price tag, which is true. And really, there's no point waffling about transfers at this moment in time. You hope things are going on in the back burners, but we'll have to really see in that regard. Let's start closing things, people. It makes it look a bit prettier. What's this? Why Arsenal missed out on 130 million English star Jude Bellingham? Man, I don't care about we tried stuff. Arsenal 80 million Rolls Royce now seriously wanted at the Emirates. What's this? Arsenal are seriously interested in making a move for West Ham's Declan Rice. We've heard this before, but in the attempt to hear something we haven't, people, Declan Rice is seriously wanted by Arsenal. He has still got a decision to make at the end of the season. It will be made on what level of ambition the club that are trying to sign him have. Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, to a degree, theirs is a bit fluctuated. Chelsea all have ambition. I don't think that's a thing. It will depend on the financial package, what his path is into the team and what his role will be within the team. I mean, all of them will have him as a player that could grow and stuff, even though he's not initially playing. The two Real Sociedad players who could sign for Arsenal. Arsenal goes with everything for Martin Zubamendi, the young midfielder from Real Sociedad, is a great goal for the Gunners and Barcelona for next summer. So Ruben Neves, Yuri Telemans, Caicedo, Declan Rice, at various levels, they're all going to be wanted by everyone. Nobody wants to sell good players. Everyone wants to buy good players. So again, you're not just going to have a free run at anyone. So make something happen in the summer, Edu and everybody who's in charge of transfers. Ruben Neves, if I didn't say that as well. So the bid seems wonderful and exciting. However, he is not the only player from Sociedad that Mikel Arteta is interested in reinforcing the squad at the Emirates Stadium. Zubamendi, as we have previously commented, is the great design and main priority. However, Barcelona's interest in signing the player to replace Busquets means that the bid will be very interesting until the end of next summer. We'll see who takes the cat into the water. We've been linked with Mendes as well. As we reported on this outlet, Bray, Mendes has also aroused the interest of the current leader of the Premier League. The former Celta Vigo player has become the new star of Real Sociedad, and his future points to being away from Sociedad. I mean, he can play in attacking positions. He's a bit lightweight, but he can do all right. Arsenal have been linked with Ansu Fati. Obviously, it's not working out for him at the moment at Barcelona, people. George Mendes is his rep. We've worked with him before. Allegedly, Spurs are looking at him as well, people, and also Bayern Munich. If he could get through his injuries, he'd be great. Xavi has asked for patience. You got to remember, the man is still 20 years of age. I'll take Ansu Fati, but I don't believe it. Arsenal overwhelmingly favourites as midfielder who's available in the summer. Very much wanted Gunners move. It seems that Arsenal will be the overwhelming favourites to sign Yuri Telemans in the summer, as they'll still be there, and he very much wanted to join previously. Things can change, really. And if you're Telemans, let's just say we got it's probably not going to happen, but let's just say we got Declan Rice. If you got if you're Telemans, sorry, and you saw Declan Rice roll in, and you saw Caicedo, on one hand, it shows ambition. It shows a squad that's trying to be built. But at the same time, if you're now Telemans, you're looking at, well, Xhaka and Partey, long-term, probably not going to be there. But Caicedo and Rice don't necessarily walk into the team if we look at it from a devil's advocate aspect. Where do I tie in? You've still got Lokonga, who I probably think I'm better than, but he's a fellow Belgium lad. If he comes back from Crystal Palace and looks good, Jorginho ain't got too many legs left, but he's there. El Nene's been injured, but he's just signed an extension. Only 3 men can play in midfield, or 2 if you look at the pivot. And there's a lot of games for people to get game time, but it all depends, really. Again, all of these guys you're linked with, they're all going to be wanted, especially Telemans. He's 25. He's a good player, be a free agent. So we'll have to see, people, what happens. But allegedly, Arsenal are still in there. Apparently, Ben Jacobs has said, come the summer, if Telemans is available on a free, there'll be a variety of clubs looking at him. Arsenal will still be there for sure. And we know that Telemans very much wanted that move a year ago and was hopeful that something might come off throughout the summer. But Arsenal moved in a different direction, people. So we'll have to see how that one develops as well. Once again, the Daily Mail has been speaking. It spoke about Jude Bellingham. It said Real Madrid and Liverpool and City are the front runners. Obviously, people, you then go and look at someone like, where's Caicedo? Declan Rice, again, wanted by Chelsea and Arsenal primarily. Probably all the top 6 will look at him. The only one I think he has no chance is Spurs. And obviously, his contract is running down. He's made no secret of wanting to play at a higher level. So we'll have to see there. Caicedo, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool all need to revamp their midfield. I personally think he ends up at these 2 clubs. His price is allegedly 80 million. Hopefully, we can get that done, people. We all know 2 bids rejected for him, the failed pursuit of his March, January. And we all know he did the social media antics, but didn't come to anything. He's contracted until 2025. So they either need to look after him in terms of a contract or let the man go. Mitoma is flying. Did Arsenal sign the wrong Brighton winger? I mean, Andy Naylor, I'm not reading this. Obviously, the way Mitoma's playing, you could say that. Again, Milinkovic-Savic has been linked with a whole host of clubs. This article has said they're setting up a new contract for the individual and leverages Newcastle's interest as well as indirectly Juventus's. Another one who's contracted until 2024. Again, this article says he's on track for Lazio exit as he eyes up Arsenal. Let's see what's going on, people. He's reportedly ready to leave Lazio for a new adventure and has his sights set on a move to Arsenal. Again, you got to take these things with a pinch of salt, people. Apparently, a conference call took place between the president and the Serbian's agent where no progress on a contract renewal was made. Apparently, Kezman, his agent, reiterated his desire to want to try something new. Apparently, he's keen to join Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, who have long been following the 27-year-old, and Lazio are now hoping for an approach from the Premier League side in the coming months. Reports suggest that, you know, they offered him a new contract worth a net of €5 million, and apparently they're hoping to secure 50 to 60 million for his sale. So that's about 40, 55 odd million quid in line with conversion rates. Once again, people, Lazio star Milinkovic-Savic wants to leave the club in search of silverware, with Juventus, Arsenal, and Newcastle interested. We did hear in January you could get him on. You could get him on loan for 10 million and commit the rest at a later date. The player's ambition is too high for the club standards. I mean, we kind of know that. We know they're going to move him on really and truly. But I don't quite believe any of this, people. Director confident on Newcastle target, open to Arsenal moves next steps. Just want to find where it's talking about Arsenal, people. Well, we just know Arsenal are interested. Apparently, Newcastle are willing to bid 53.5 million. Imagine Guimaraes and him together, it'd be lit. And he could even earn 10 million per year. So that's, you know, double what he would have got if he signed his renewal at Lazio. Who knows, really? But I always look at these Italian links with a degree of pessimism. So we'll have to see. Until people are holding shirts, who knows, people? Looking at this, Arsenal currently favourites from Matoma. I hope so. You know, hopefully Tommy Asu can put a word in. Apparently, we're targeting the Sociedad duo, as said. We've been linked with Asu Fati. We're allegedly the favourites for Yuri Telemans. It will be a record-breaking bid, or better yet, transfer to get Declan Rice. We face competition for Declan Rice. Martinelli has signed a new deal, as we know, until 2027 with the option of 2028. So never want another year on that. Pardon me, you'd have to read into whatever, people. But with that, that seems to be the transfer news. Yuri is not this level. He don't have the intensity. He can make the decisive pass, but if the club wants Yuri Telemans, I will support it. Savic is over with. We should have done it by now. If Milinkovic-Savic joins, I think you mean he's our best midfielder. Milinkovic-Savic is not a CDM, better as a box-to-box as he's a playmaker. I never said he's a defensive mid. Yeah, Twitch mods, we're getting some weirdos out here, bro. Burge is above him, though. I'm happy we got profiles in midfield. I just hope Arsenal get 2 as a bare minimum. Rice is a future England captain. I know we don't pay too much mind in the backroom affairs, but for the politics of the game, it will do us good to have him, and he's a good player too. Who would you want if you had the choice, DG? I do like Zubamendi. I would like Calcedo. I do like Declan Rice. I'd actually say Zubamendi / Declan Rice, man. I think Ruben Neves, people kind of look down their nose with it. Appreciate that, stylish, man. 1 hour in and we've only got 60 likes. Rise up to 100. One love, my guy. Struggling to die. 64 likes is peak. But yeah, it is what it is. I'd rather no loan Balogun to Brighton. If Brighton wants Balogun, they need to pay cash. Same for us with Matoma. I'm not sold on Telemans or Neves at Arsenal. Kante linked to us 2 years too late. Rice won't go to City. He ain't sitting on the bench, and no one is displacing Roger at the moment. True. I'm sticking to Matoma / Zubi, loan Brighton, Balogun, Tavares sold. If Rice and Caicedo fails, then Zubamendi is there. Caicedo is going to Chelsea. We come in for Mitoma, but we have to loan them Balogun and Reece on a free, so it ain't bad. Hear that? Pep mind games, I would just ignore him, focus on our team. Don't buy Asensio. No one will pay more than 170k a week for him. Could be okay for Arsenal. I was of the opinion that we should have gotten Rice over Caicedo in the Jan window. Probably was never going to happen unless he really burnt bridges at West Ham and you gave them 100 million or maybe even more. I still think he'd be a better addition than Caicedo and he'd pair well with Rice. Yeah, I think he means Xhaka or Partey. I think Pep is waiting to play us and go back top of the league. We have Balogun. Asensio is dead. He can go to West Ham Spurs. Shout out London Boy. Shout out American Gooner as well. I mean, I don't know, man. We've talked about the last 2 seasons and the number of losses not being sustainable. This year, we're on 2 losses, a vast improvement so far. Let's take a breath. The sky is not falling. Amen. Leao and Rice will win us the league next season. I don't know any of that. Like Arteta said, Arsenal got to earn the right to play. They didn't do that on Saturday. They showed up and expected Everton to bow to them. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. We can do with another 8 since Odegaard, Vieira, and Smith Rowe to some degree will need to learn that role over time. I hear that. What the hell is that? I mean, Milinkovic-Savic has to go and do the Xhaka role, man. He's not, obviously, he's 6 foot odd, composing figure. He's not defensive mid. He goes into that Xhaka role and he'd be good at that. Obviously, without knowing how he'd adapt to the Premier League and things. Milinkovic-Savic would be lit. I must admit, I'm never really moved by him, but I think he's a quality player. If I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, man. Neves is decent though. Rather get Zubimendi, etc. over him. But what Neves gives is a decent option in passing. Just depends on the price. In our system, Yuri plays in that Odegaard role, in my opinion. I think the Xhaka thing. Shout out to you, DG. What do you make of the City allegations? I've offered my thoughts on it, but in short, I don't think it's going to come to anything really. It's come out today. They've probably been briefed on what has been pending for them. And they're just going to have to keep it moving, really and truly, if I'm honest with you. 30 more likes and we have 100 likes, people. Don't forget, we're live at 6:45 to watch Arsenal against Watford's under-18s, people. It's the FA Youth Cup. I'm going to be live in the afternoon to play FM as well, man. I don't know if he'll be top 10 centre mids in the Premier. We'd have to prove that. But with that being said here, people, we've been here for an hour and 15 minutes. I can't lie, my belly has been talking to me. It's time to go eat some chicken and rice. I hope you lot have had a great live stream with myself, from your opinions to your talking points, etc. Make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications and smash the like button. Make sure you're following on YouTube and Twitch. Hopefully you lot have had a great start to the week and long may it continue. But for now, one love, people.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like